The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Once when Jesus was praying in solitude and the disciples were with him, he asked them, "Who do the crowd say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others, one of the ancient prophets has arisen." Then he said to them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said in reply, "The Christ of God." He rebuked them and directed them not to tell this to anyone. He said, "The Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised." Then he said to all, "If anyone wishes to come after me, he must deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will save it." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Well, I have set a personal record this year. This year, I attended 4 graduations in 3 different states. And I'm not a big guy for going to graduations, but I think probably the single line I heard in all the different speeches that I got to listen to that was my favorite was from a valedictorian who said to her class, "Receiving your diploma is like getting your learner's permit for life." I thought, that's pretty good. The funniest line I heard was from a salutatorian who said to her class, "Congratulations, we've made it, and it's been hard to get to this point because we had to get up early in the morning." I thought, oh, you poor thing, you just don't know what life's got in store for you, do you? But I kind of laughed at that because I think reflecting back, which you do when you go to a graduation, whether it's an 8th grade graduation or a high school graduation or a college graduation, you sort of reflect back to where you were at that point in your life as you were moving from one stage of life to the next stage of life, sort of excited and full of possibility, but not really sure how life was going to unfold. And what seemed like difficulty at that time, you wish you could have it again, as things sort of unfold. And that came to mind for me when I was looking at the gospel for this Sunday, because God blessed them in their sincerity and in their naivete. But I really don't think Peter and the apostles and the disciples knew what the road ahead was going to hold for them. I just think at this point in Luke's gospel, they just do not know what life is going to look like and how it's going to turn out if you're honestly going to follow Jesus the Christ. They've had some experiences with Christ, which is why when Jesus asks, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter's able to give that A+ answer. His orthodoxy is right there. He's got a well-formulated statement. You are the Christ. Got it. Perfect. Wonderful. But before they go out and talk about that, Jesus needs to give them the orthopraxis, that is the appropriate action that accompanies their orthodoxy. And he says to them, did you notice Luke's word? He rebukes them. Peter gets it right, and he rebukes them and says, "Don't tell anybody." Why would that be? Why would you not want to tell people that the Christ has arrived? I mean, what they've seen, we've heard over the last several weeks in the Gospels the church has given us. They have seen Jesus feed the multitudes with a couple of loaves of bread and a few fish. They've seen him heal all kinds of illness and all kinds of disability. They've even seen him bring a young man back to life, that a widow who had lost her son. When Father Kwame was here a few weeks ago, he spoke about that. They've seen these remarkable things. Why not share with the world, the Christ is here, the anointed of God has come? Why would Jesus go, "Don't tell anybody"? Well, the answer is this. They don't know what the road ahead holds. They have not yet encountered what it really means to be the Christ, to be the anointed of God. and what that's going to mean in their life. There's a much fuller picture to come that they can't imagine. And in their sincerity and their naivete, Jesus tries to thunk them right between the eyes today as he tells them what it's really going to involve. That it's not about healing the sick, it's not about feeding the multitude, as important and impressive that may be, but even more so, he knows what the cost of his mission is to try to change history and move the world from self-centeredness to other-centeredness and community, to move the world from ambition to servanthood. He knows it's going to bring him to a very vicious and cruel death, to be arrested and mocked and humiliated and beaten and tortured and executed, and then to rise on the third day. And it's only after the disciples go through that experience, that sort of mind-bending and heartbreaking experience of what the Christ really is about and how God is going about winning the world back to himself. It's only after that that they are then sent forward to proclaim the Christ. Only after that are they sent forward. And while they may be a bit naive today, they get it. They get it. Because all but one of them will end up picking up their cross, following Christ, paying the cost that it is to be a disciple of Jesus. 11 of them will be martyred for their faith. They get it, that following Jesus costs something. And you have to hand it to Christ. He doesn't soft sell it. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He's not interested in luring people in with anything but the full truth. He is straightforward that when you follow him, there will be a cost. Now, I don't want to start your Father's Day and Sunday morning out with sort of a down or depressing kind of homily. I hope that we are all aware that as baptized Christians following the call of Christ, that for us is a source of great joy and gives life its deepest meaning and its greatest purpose and remarkable fulfillment. But if we're going to be honorable to the gospel and respect what Christ says, we have to acknowledge that he indicates very clearly several times in all the Gospels there is a cost to following him. And we can maybe understand that, at least here. We know that for many of our brothers and sisters in other parts of the world right now, at this moment, they actually face death, martyrdom, because of their belief in Christ. But when we bring it home, do we get it? Do we actually, in our lived experience, have the experience of our faith in Jesus costing us something? What has being a disciple of Jesus cost you? What cost have you paid for following Christ? We're not used to thinking in that way. I was laughing last night with the 5:30 crowd, telling them that my family, we would have been right there at 5:30 Mass with them on Saturday evening. Why? It fulfills the obligation, but more importantly, that way we can sleep in on Sunday morning, right? We wouldn't have to go through the inconvenience of getting up on Sunday morning to come to church. I mean, that was too much of a sacrifice to come on the Lord's day. It was too inconvenient. And our faith is not supposed to be one of convenience. It's serious business, and there's a cost associated with it. If you can't recognize in your life what that cost may be, or what it's been to you yet, then you might need to ask yourself, how well are you living this faith you proclaim? How good a witness to the world are you of this faith? I can remember going back years ago on this Father's Day, a story about my dad. Family, very close-knit. We all worked together in the family business, and we had, 30, 40 employees or so. So Dad was really very successful. We were a third-party administration company. What we did is we worked with large self-funded organizations like the Oakland Unified School District or the cities of Contra Costa County. And we helped them design their employee benefit programs, whether it was dental, medical, long-term vision, and we processed the claims for that, did all that sort of work. And along the lines, Dad went ahead and got in touch with Pennsylvania Life Insurance Company to create a program, a product for small businesses, for people who had maybe only 2 or 3 employees, but still wanted and needed to offer benefits. And I can remember the day that we were sitting in the conference room in our office in Concord with representatives from Pennsylvania Life Insurance Company. And one of the principals, one of the presidents of Pennsylvania Life, looked at my dad and, not aggressively, almost kind of sadly, but matter-of-factly stated to him that he would never be a great success because he was too honest. You go, Dad. You go, Dad. The cost of following Jesus and living the gospel has a price tag attached. It might be in business. It could be in relationships that you find you need to let go. It could be in activities that you undertake that are not appropriate. It could be in the way you spend money. It could be in attitudes. It could be in prejudices that you need to let go of and grow out of. But somewhere, somehow, if you're honestly following Jesus, there will be a cost. And if you can identify that, what that is, I really think that's good news. And here's why I think it's good news. Because if you've been willing to sacrifice something for Christ, if you've been willing to give him that priority and his teachings that importance, then while you may not every day passionately feel this for him, the fact is, somewhere inside you, you love him and you care about him and what he came to do. And I say that because love, whenever it's real and whenever it's true, always involves some level of self-sacrifice. Whether it's love for a spouse, love for your children, love for parents, it involves self-sacrifice. And if you have sacrificed for the sake of Christ, then somewhere you love him. You may not feel it every day, but it's a truth of your life. And that makes all the difference. We may not know exactly what the road ahead as we follow Christ involves. But if we find in ourselves the ability to sacrifice for him, to pick up our cross and to carry it, then we've started to grasp and learn what it is he's trying to teach his disciples this day. And that self-sacrificial love, the kind that he showed the world, the kind that we strive to win, will bring forth the kingdom and make us its members.